Now, to be fair to Jake, I don't think this NFT project, which was called MetaMonks, ever launched. I think it got scrapped because they didn't build enough hype. Instead, less than a month after it, a new video came out from Jake Tran called The Evil Business of NFTs. And this is where things get even more bizarre.
In the weird world of NFTs, there is something sinister going on where criminals are making off with millions with what's called a rug pull.
Okay, I'm pretty sure you guys know where this is going. Jake Tran is telling us how evil and profitable NFT rug pulls are. I wonder who the sponsor is.
So if people want to get into flipping, like you said, to start out, are there any projects that you're looking into right now that you see potential in?
Yeah, and one thing I want to make clear, when you're new, you need to spend a little more time to really try to understand that this team is authentic, they care, they actually want to build something, because it's really hard to differentiate who is using these buzzwords to manipulate you and who actually has good intentions and wants to build something for the long run. And so I guess I'll use the project that we're advising for as the example, the Cunning Wolf Society.
I love the shamelessness. The guy you're hearing from right now, by the way, is Brett. He's the expert in rug pulls, supposedly teaching us how to avoid scams. And at the end of this video, he's like, yeah, you gotta be careful because people will just say anything to take your money. You never know who to trust. Oh, by the way, buy our NFT project, the Cunning Wolves Society. You could not have picked a less trustworthy name. You might as well have named it the Sneaky Snakes or Rug Pull Rabbits. I mean, who buys into projects like this? Like, hey, we're the Cunning Wolves. Our defining traits are that we're devious and predatory. Now, surprisingly, unlike the last time, which didn't really work out for Jake, this time, the project that they're supposedly advising on sold very well, over $1 million. And there's a lot to this because they ended up using a lot of the same tactics they describe as red flags earlier in the video to sell this project. And now that investors are down 80%, you have to wonder who's left holding the bag. But probably my favorite part of this whole thing comes right at the end. Because like I said earlier, Brett and Jake are trying to push this idea of like flipping NFTs in the form of this Cunning Wolf Society. But in this exact video, Brett, the rug pull expert, tells us that the real money isn't even in flipping NFTs. It's in selling to the people who are flipping NFTs.
I'm making a lot of money flipping NFTs. You realize, oh my God, the project that I'm buying these NFTs from are making 5% of every single transaction. Like, that's where the real money's at.
Wait. You just told us to flip your NFT and then told us that the real money isn't in flipping NFTs, it's in transaction fees? Which, by the way, what are the transaction fees for the Cunning Wolf Society? Let's just scroll down this page real quick. Oh, it's 5%. Right. Of course it is. Isn't it amazing that they like tell you how it works and then do the exact thing? I mean, it's so shameless that it almost pisses me off. Like, Jake Tran actually makes pretty good content when he's not selling these get-rich-quick schemes. So I felt like it needed to be called out. And I also feel like you, the audience, need to be aware that just because someone is calling out scams doesn't instantly make them trustworthy. I feel like a lot of people just drop their guard and just believe the next words out of someone's mouth just because they were the guy who called out a scam. Anyways, with all that said, I guess I just want to wrap this video up by telling you guys about the new hottest niche in crypto right now. This was a big win. Ladies and gentlemen, rarely is justice served quickly in the legal system. Usually, you have to wait years to see results. But today is an exception. And I want to share it with you guys because just a week ago, we talked about this YouTuber, Atozi, getting sued for absolutely insane reasons. Basically, he called out this millionaire crypto YouTuber, BitBoy Crypto, and got sued because of it.
You've been served early. What are you doing?
What did he say that was... and got sued because of it?
You've been served early. What are you doing?
What did he say that was so wrong? Well, he called him a dirtbag and said you shouldn't listen to him for financial advice, which I agree with. Apparently, this was so defamatory that BitBoy decided he was going to sue him and wasn't going to stop until Atozi had paid him for damages. And apparently, this lawsuit came while Atozi was about to have a kid. And to make matters worse, he's having to make this emergency response video while his wife is literally going into labor and they're running to the emergency room. Now, I'm not saying BitBoy knew about any of this. I'm just saying this to show that Atozi was in deep trouble. And this is why myself and many others made videos about this topic. But honestly, there wasn't a lot we could do until everything changed.
I think we're in an Airheads commercial. Want us to go back?
Because when Atozy dropped his response video, he set up a GoFundMe for his legal defense, which initially raised a few $1,000s, but then BitBoy decided to do maybe the dumbest thing possible. He decides to mock the fundraiser of the guy that he's suing. He says, "I'm sure they could all borrow $10 from their mom's purse to help you out there, bud." Talking, of course, about Atozy's fans. And obviously after that, things went crazy because Atozy's fans and anyone watching from the sideline realized what they did. BitBoy was bullying this guy and then mocking him for it, like suing you and then mocking you about it. And before long, Atozy started bringing in tons of donations from everyone, even an $100,000 donation from Kobe, who we brought on the show before. And within 48 hours, Atozy raised $200,000 for his lawsuit to defend himself, which suddenly made things a very different story, because it's one thing to sue a guy when he doesn't have money to fight you. It's a whole other thing to piss off the entire internet and then try to fight a case. Because in my last video, I made it very clear. I thought his lawsuit had zero merit. But now it was also looking like Atozy didn't have $0 anymore. And so BitBoy started to backtrack. But it's important to say, BitBoy didn't give in quite yet. He did double down one time. He said, quote, "You can't literally make up lies and accusations about people. Hate me all you want. At the end of the day, people will be held accountable." So it wasn't actually until BitBoy's own, biggest hero, the guy he looks up to, came to Atozy's defense that he finally buckled. And to understand this one, you have to understand that BitBoy is obsessed with a cryptocurrency called Ripple, or XRP. He calls himself the commander of their XRP army.
Because that's my duty as the supreme leader and commander of the XRP army.
And I have to be clear, no one hates this self-title of BitBoy more than the XRP fans, but basically BitBoy makes tons of videos about XRP's legal cases with the SEC. So imagine his surprise when the CTO of Ripple comes to Atozy's defense. David Schwartz says, quote, "Please identify one specific statement that you can prove is a lie. I read your complaint, like I did, and couldn't find a single one. Imagine finding out your hero is on the side of the guy you're trying to sue." And he responds, "I cannot make specific statements until this is over. This wasn't supposed to be public." This whole nonsense. And he says, "I respect you and would love to have this convo." I mean, just hilarious. But David isn't having any of it, and he decides to destroy him with this. So you're comfortable accusing people of spreading provable lies on Twitter, but suddenly uncomfortable when asked to show one specific instance of a provable lie? I mean, guys, he's totally right. BitBoy keeps saying there's all these provable lies, but you look at his complaint, there's nothing concrete. So finally, I guess BitBoy got the memo. And less than 48 hours after all this became public, BitBoy decided he was dropping the lawsuit.
This wasn't supposed to get this far. So at this point, like I said, there is nothing really we can do. The money just came in on his side. The lawsuit was never about money. So hopefully, Atozy, now that we're going to be officially dropping this, I emailed my lawyer about 15 minutes before we went on air here, so that is going to be happening.
Now listen, guys. When he dropped it at first, I was very excited for it, to be honest, because here's a guy who was in trouble. Now he's not, great. Atozy announced that he was going to refund everyone who donated to him, which is the right thing to do. It's awesome. Everybody sort of wins. But then I kind of thought about it for a second, and I got angry. Because rewind that clip for a second and really listen to what BitBoy is saying.
So at this point, like I said, there is nothing really we can do. The money just came in on his side. The lawsuit was never about money.
There's nothing you can do because the money came in on his side? What is that about? Suddenly the guy you're in a legal battle with has the funds to fight his case, and that makes your lawsuit worthless? Do you guys understand what he's saying there? There's nothing we can do because the money came in on his side. Nothing about the facts of the case have changed here, guys. The only thing that's really changed is everyone found out about it, and Atozy got money to actually defend himself. The fact that that is what seems to have made BitBoy drop his case is so telling for the fact that this was all about bullying him in the first place. Because, look, what else has changed? I think this was a play by BitBoy, who knows he's a millionaire, he knows Atozy's not, and he basically wants to punish him for criticizing him too. And when that backfired, I think he backed out of it. And it wasn't just this statement that BitBoy said when he was basically dropping the lawsuit that was questionable. He also said this.
We did not want this to become public. I guess when I decided to do this back in October, I wanted to keep this behind closed doors. I've had another lawsuit. It was behind closed doors. And it worked out great.
Yeah, he wanted to keep it behind closed doors. He's sorry it got out. It's already suspicious when you start to talk like that. But I also don't know if this is really true because BitBoy knew this thing would become public, which is like what confused me about this whole thing. Because way back in December, guys, of 2021, I knew BitBoy was planning to sue Atozy, and I told him that I was going to make a video about it because I thought it was frivolous and bullying, and I gave him a media request to respond to. Here's the email proving it. So this whole thing of like, oh, I expected it to be private, I didn't know it would be leaked to the press, that's why I'm suddenly changing my mind. That's not true. BitBoy knew for like 7-8 months that this was going to be covered. So it's just funny that he's like, oh, I thought this would be behind closed doors. No. You thought you could get away with it, and you couldn't. He thought nobody was going to come to Atozy's aid. He thought that the only people who would support Atozy are kids borrowing from their mom's purse. But I just wanted to celebrate this win and let you guys know that your direct support just ends up making a huge difference, and it prevents people from getting legally bullied, because this happens all the time, and it's not always a big YouTuber with millions of subscribers who can afford to fight it and can draw attention to it. It's oftentimes little YouTubers who don't have a voice. So I wanted to draw attention to that scummy behavior and then also celebrate the win in this case of how he fought back, and we won, because it's actions like this that makes this community so cool to be a part of. Enjoy the win for now. I'll see you in the next one. Bitcoin has been the official currency of El Salvador for an entire year. So, how's it going? Well, here's what the media's saying.
The results have been mixed at best.
President Bukele has invested nearly $100 million of public money on Bitcoin. Most of the coins have not risen in value since being bought.
Using Bitcoin remains a challenge. At this grocery store, we held up a
Okay, Google, start 10-minute timer.
Okay, 10 minutes. Starting now.
for 10 minutes as the cashier waited for our payment to clear.
They said that the transaction was declined, but on my Bitcoin wallet, it showed that it had gone through.
Okay, so it doesn't look great from the start, and with the IMF telling El Salvador to ditch Bitcoin and rethink crypto, we might be tempted to end the video there. But Bitcoiners would say that's a mistake. Of course, the IMF, International Monetary Fund, wants people to rethink Bitcoin. Just last week, the International Horse Fund was telling people to rethink cars. In fact, maybe all this FUD from the lamestream media is just them fighting against a future that will make them obsolete. That's what the Bitcoiners would say. They think El Salvador is the first in a long line of dominoes. It's the first of many countries that will inevitably accept Bitcoin. These are just technical glitches. These price falls, I mean, they're just hiccups in a longer plan. But then again, Bitcoiners aren't exactly unbiased themselves. Of course, they're going to be fans of El Salvador with it becoming a crypto tax haven. Billionaires became fans of the Cayman Islands for the same reason. So, yeah, I'm kind of sick of hearing from Bitcoin bros too. In fact, everyone is. Even the family members of these guys are starting to put their foot down. Here's one of the most popular Bitcoiners saying that he's actually been banned from his family's Thanksgiving, all because of Bitcoin.
Still DMing influencers for collabs? Find your perfect match with Later. We have over 10 million influencers to help you reach your goals every time. Your perfect influencer match is waiting.
It's Thanksgiving. We didn't even notice it because we're not in America. But what the hell are you doing here, even though it's Thanksgiving?
Right. Well, Simon, you know, we didn't get invited to any of our families' Thanksgiving this year because they're so sick of us talking about Bitcoin. We tried. They hung up on us. They're just like, go away. We're sick of you.
That's why I always say you don't talk religion, politics, or global financial policies at the dinner table. You just don't do it. That, by the way, is Max Kaiser. And in addition to being on the Thanksgiving do not call list, he's also one of the reasons that El Salvador planned to issue volcano bonds. This is a scheme to use geothermal energy from their volcanoes to mine Bitcoin. Of course, all that computer mining equipment costs money, so the government was going to issue bonds to pay for all that new infrastructure. But at the last minute has delayed the fundraising. So this is quite a complicated story. There's a lot of competing stakeholders who all want you to believe something different. But what I want to know is, what is the truth? What's the real situation with Bitcoin in El Salvador a year later? It's time for a deep dive on this. We're going to start at the most obvious place, price. Obviously, a lot of the conversation around Bitcoin for El Salvador is going to center around how it has performed as an asset. And here, things aren't great. El Salvador bought the dip many times, and then the dip dipped many times. They spent over $100 million on Bitcoin in total at an average price of $45,000. Bitcoin is now worth roughly $20,000, which means they've taken a 50% loss on these purchases, which is a huge waste of resources. So sure, you could say they're hodling, but this is a pretty big fail. But of course, that's not the whole story. This is often called remittances, and these for El Salvador. And the idea is that some of that money they could save if they use Bitcoin. Because in theory, if Bitcoin could lower transaction fees abroad, even if it did nothing else, that could be a net win for El Salvador. But this only works if people actually use Bitcoin. And that's kind of a problem, because this isn't Silicon Valley where everyone has a phone, crypto, and borderline personality disorder. This is El Salvador. 70% of their citizens don't even have a bank, much less cryptocurrency. So it might be a huge challenge for El Salvador to get its citizens to actually even use crypto in the first place. And that's what we're going to talk about next, adoption. El Salvador's plan for crypto adoption is actually pretty simple. They want their citizens to download something called Chivo, which is a crypto wallet app. And here they've been pretty successful. Chivo has 4 million downloads, and almost 70% of El Salvadorians say they know about this app. However, this is where the good news for El Salvador sort of ends, because a working paper by NBER, or this, they say that the primary interest in Chivo was driven by a $30 bonus that the government gave away with sign-on, which, for context, minimum wage in El Salvador is only $12 a day. So downloading Chivo and getting $30 for free was the equivalent for some of working almost 3 days straight. So it's a no-brainer. Now, of course, the government would hope that people would continue to use this Chivo app well after they've spent their initial free $30. But a survey from that same paper shows that this is probably not the case. 60% of El Salvadorians said no to the question of using Chivo after the $30 bonus, and over 70% haven't loaded money onto Chivo beyond the free bonus. So a lot of people were just using it. Not only that, even if you have Bitcoin on your app, it's hard to use in El Salvador, since a reported 80% of businesses do not accept it as legal currency, despite it being so. With all of that said, where does that leave us with our earlier question about remittances? Well, the numbers are in.
depending on who you're asking over what time period, remittances through crypto are roughly 1.6 to 3.9% of the total value of remittances, which is not good. Because one of the key arguments for Bitcoin is that it's going to be used for this thing, right? It's going to lower international fees. But in order for that to happen, you have to use it. So the most optimistic scenario here is that people haven't figured out that it's good for that, or that more people are going to use Chivo in the future. However, a lot of reports say that El Salvadorians just don't trust Bitcoin to hold its value, which you can hardly blame them for given their experience with it. But speaking of that, holding its value, this brings us to another argument for Bitcoin, which is about banking, or more specifically, people who don't have banking. As I said earlier, the majority of people in El Salvador don't have access to financial institutions, as this reporter for CNBC explains.
70% of people in El Salvador don't have access to bank accounts. So for them, the concept of having a savings account is almost foreign. And those are the types of reasons that the government is putting forward to try to get this widespread adopted.
All right, that argument makes sense. Crypto is going to allow people without a bank to have one. And that could be really cool. However, there's still problems here, because that same survey, it turns out, shows that the people who are most likely to know about Chivo and cryptocurrency are exactly the people who don't need it. They are most likely already banked and already educated, have cell phones with internet. This is sort of the opposite of the typical profile of the unbanked you'd be theoretically targeting. So those are the main arguments for and against Bitcoin within El Salvador, and that's how it's been doing. Adoption, remittances, and also access to banking. And it's been pretty rough, I have to admit. However, remember that El Salvador's decision still has some vocal supporters, which I don't want to neglect. Starting with the actual El Salvadorians. Some would say that Bitcoin is a huge benefit to them because it allows them to do things like pay electric bills in a way they could never do before.
Y lo envío y ahí ya tengo pagado.
Ya está.
Sí.
Muy fácil.
Sí.
How long, more or less, would it take you in the past to do this?
En los que voy en el bus, posiblemente una hora, tal vez una hora de espera en el puerto, tal vez unas 3 horas para poderlo pagar.
3 hours, and now it's just, boom, instant in your life.
Sí.
Okay, look, that's honestly heartwarming, I have to admit. And if there's a silver lining here, it's people like that benefiting. But in the press, I have to say, those aren't really the people on the front lines pushing the Bitcoin narrative forward in El Salvador. That award goes to rich people who don't get invited to Thanksgiving, but do get El Salvadorian citizenship via the president himself because of volcano bond donation.
So the idea was floated, hey, you put 100,000 into these volcano bonds and you're on the fast track to citizenship or permanent residency. So I tweeted that, we're very interested in this. We would love to become Salvadorian citizens. And within a half hour, we were getting tweets back and feedback back from the president and other people in the government saying, we'll make you citizens ASAP by the end of this year.
Okay. This finally brings me to my main question I want to leave you with, right? Because people on the Bitcoin side are going to say it's going great. People crypto are going to say, oh, it's always going terrible. But I really want to leave you with this thought. Who is the Bitcoin push benefiting? Obviously, in the press, it's all to help the poor people, right? We have to bank the unbanked. But if you actually look at what El Salvador has done, not what they say they're doing, you really have to wonder whether this is about helping poor people or if it's about helping people who are already well off. I mean, if you look at their plan to issue volcano bonds to wealthy investors, they're giving citizenship to wealthy investors. They're giving a tax haven to wealthy investors. They're planning a Bitcoin city supposedly in the shape of a Bitcoin. The thing literally looks like El Dorado. You think most of the citizens are going to be able to live there? They plan a lookout at the top of the volcano that looks like you're going to sacrifice to the Satoshi gods. I mean, who are you catering to at this point? If the answer is Thanksgiving refugees, that's fine, but at least say that and be honest about it. Because from where I'm sitting, I see most of the benefit going to the people already at the top. So anyways, that's basically my assessment of El Salvador. Next year, we'll check in again to see how it's doing, see if things have changed, because remember, it's still early. So maybe everything turns around and the Bitcoin bros are right. I don't know. I'm open to that. Either way, pump the stock. Thanks for watching, and I will see you in the next one.
For a lovely baker, he really didn't know.
Okay, Google. Set a minute timer. Okay, Google. Cancel my timer.
He do any better. How would his business grow?
Business is hard. And then one day, Bob found Biggin.
Bob's feeling well now, making some red velvets. And Biggin can remember every customer he met.
Now Bob uses Biggin, a CRM specifically built for businesses like his. And not only Bob.
$1 billion crypto bank is collapsing, and I'm here to explain why.
Celsius.
Celsius.
Celsius. Celsius. Celsius. Celsius Network.
Celsius Network.
This platform is Celsius Network.
Definitely is one of the big ones in the crypto space.
Joining me now is Celsius founder and CEO Alex Mashinsky.
The core business is to challenge conventional banking.
Where holders can find decent yield at a time when traditional savings accounts pay almost nothing.
How is it that by doing nothing, I can hold the USD stablecoin and earn close to 10%?
Let me stop you right there. You can't, it turns out. Today, we're answering all the questions. What is Celsius? Why is it collapsing? And why don't they just convert it to Fahrenheit, honestly? Well, I'm here to answer. Celsius is a place where you can deposit your cryptocurrencies in exchange for interest payments. And they will turn around and give out loans not a bank, because banks are bad.
Banks are not your friends, we all know that. And we decided to create a replacement for the banking system, right? Something that acts in your best interest, a place where you can actually have your money work for you, not just you work for your money. And basically 3 years since we launched the product, we've paid $1 billion back to the community.
Wow. That guy you just heard speaking is Alex Mashinsky. And nobody hates banks more than this guy. I mean, look at his shirt. How could his company, which lends money and takes deposits, be a bank when he has a shirt that says banks are not your friends? Weird foreshadowing, actually. In fact, before we jump into this full thing, I need to tell you how much Alex hates banks. He hates them so much, he says that banking and securities laws shouldn't apply to his company. Quote, banking and securities laws shouldn't apply to Celsius because cryptocurrencies are commodities. This is from a great article by Bloomberg. And he says, quote, like a neighbor who borrows a cup of sugar, then later gives back a cup and a tablespoon more. That's right. The normal rules shouldn't apply to him. Why would you regulate this humble little sugar lender? Well, I can think of one reason. Maybe it has something to do with the 25 billion cups of sugar that Celsius has under management. wait, I'm sorry, dollars. I got a little confused there. And yeah, actually, it's not cups of sugar they're lending so much as it is digital dollars, which it's kind of hard to say that lending digital dollars and lending regular dollars are not pretty similar things. Again, I think most people would say the rules should apply to them, especially since Celsius is now collapsing, and we do not know yet whether it will survive this crash or what will happen to its 25 billion cups of sugar. But of course, the big question is, what is causing this collapse? Well, it turns out for the past few months, people have been worried about Celsius's ability to repay customers back their withdrawals, partially because of the insane yields that they were paying out. For example, if you were to deposit like $1 at a bank, you'd get a fraction of a percent of interest every year. On the other hand, if you deposited 1 Tether or USDC at Celsius, they were paying 9% per year on your money. That's the same amount of money, and Celsius is paying out 100 times the interest rate on that exact same deposit, basically. The question is, how is that possible, right? Is this thing too good to be true? And if it is, when is it going to collapse? Well, the founder, Mashinsky, has been telling everyone that it's not too good to be true. In actual fact, the reason this is possible is because banks equal bad and Celsius equal good. He's quoted as saying, "It's the traditional finance system that's ripping people off by taking their deposits, using them to make money, and then claiming it can only pay tiny interest rates. Somebody is lying," Mashinsky said. Either the bank is lying or Celsius is lying. Oof, that ain't spoiled, didn't it? Because despite him claiming that everything was fine, things under the surface weren't actually so great. See, at least in theory, the idea of Celsius isn't like totally insane, right? Banks do give tiny interest rates compared to what they make, and Celsius was charging fairly high interest rates to borrow their crypto. Like to borrow a stablecoin, they would charge 12%, which is more than they were paying to deposit it. But the real problem is that no bank or new age finance company can ever loan out 100% of what they have as deposits. The reason is that if you lent out every dollar you took in, you'd have nothing left to pay withdrawals back with. And so you're left in this sort of conundrum. On the one hand, you want to loan out as much as possible to get the interest to pay your depositors, but on the other hand, you need to keep enough on hand to pay for withdrawal. And that's all money that you're not making interest on, which makes this whole thing kind of a weird balancing act. Lend too much, you can't meet withdrawals. Lend too little, you're losing money every month. Now, perhaps to solve this money problem, Celsius created their own crypto token called Cell, which people could invest in. This token, in theory, was supposed to lube the whole system up and make it work smoothly like a finely tuned engine. It could provide liquidity where they needed it. Actually, they literally described the system as a wheel, according to Mashinsky, a wheel of fortune that keeps on giving. According to him, this was Celsius's main business plan. Flywheel token economics, he called it. Issue loans, collect interest, give it to the people, lend coins, collect interest on coins, buy Celsius, distribute to members. You get the idea. Money goes up forever. Well, right up until it doesn't. Because in case you haven't noticed, it's winter in June. I mean, checkmate, climate scientists, we are in a crypto winter, okay? And markets are all down, and all of a sudden, people start to get a little worried. Money doesn't just go up, and so some withdrawals start to begin. At first, everything's fine. The Financial Times reported $1 billion flowed out from March to May. No big deal, right? But as things continued, things got a little shaky for Celsius because all of a sudden, everyone sees Luna collapse in May, which was because of unsustainable yields, and you're looking at Celsius like, that kind of looks like the same thing. But then, worst of all, the Cell token, which they created, started to plummet. Now this is where things get bad, because the Cell token is like the grease in this flywheel. Remember, it was how they were going to get out of their jam. They could just like sell their little token and get the money to pay back anything. Maybe they had some deposits locked up, right? But if their Cell token becomes nearly worthless, all of a sudden, small jams become much more dangerous. So things are getting worse, and compounding this problem, a lot of deposits there are locked up. For example, their Ethereum deposits were locked in ETH too. Now, this part of the story gets a little complicated, so we're kind of grazing past some stuff that I may get to in a full post-mortem I'm doing later. But all you need to know for now is that they didn't have enough liquidity, and they started to take loans to pay back for withdrawals. This was documented by the crypto researcher Dirty Bubble Media. He would track the crypto that flowed into their wallets and started to notice that big exchanges like FTX started sending $50 million in USDC to Celsius all of a sudden. And he would post this for everyone to see. And it sort of became a vicious cycle. The more the pressure mounted on Celsius, the more Celsius would take out loans or try to find ways to pay for withdrawals. But then people would see that and post it on Twitter, which would cause people to panic, thinking that Celsius was unbacked. And as a result, even more withdrawals would come, which would again make them need to go out for loans. I think you get the idea. Sort of the opposite of Mashinsky's flywheel. And eventually all of this became too much for them. Officially, on June 12th, 2022, Celsius paused all withdrawals, swaps, and transfers. The idea here being, if they can recoup some of the crypto they have locked up elsewhere, they can actually pay for withdrawals. And I get that this may have been necessary, but this is sort of like the pilot in the aircraft saying, don't panic, but I'm putting a pause on the engines for a second. I mean, everyone's going to immediately panic, and the Cell token plummeted another 50% in 1 hour from there. This obviously compounds the solvency issue further because any Cell tokens that they have are even more worthless. Not to mention, it's unclear whether Celsius has all the money to pay back investors. So maybe they're just putting a pause on the inevitable. Meanwhile, people start to crawl around the terms and conditions at the time they signed up to, and they found something quite worrying. They found the bankruptcy clause that was in this centralized, bank that's not a bank. And listen to what it says. In the event that Celsius becomes bankrupt, enters liquidation, or is otherwise unable to pay obligations, any eligible digital assets used in the earn services or as collateral under the borrow service may not be recoverable. So it turns out that when a bank that's not a bank takes your money, the rules don't apply to them the same way. I mean, don't you get it? When you were giving them your hard-earned crypto, it's more like you were lending them some sugar cubes. And I don't mean to make light of this, but their position is so clearly silly. Although I want to be clear that Celsius, I hope they make it through this. Not because they deserve to, but because the investors who have their life savings stuck in there deserve to keep their money. I mean, if one thing became very clear to me while researching this story, it's how many people dumped their life savings into this. Once again, coming from the Bloomberg article, quote, as part of a contest in which customers shared their Celsius story, many said they entrusted Celsius with their life savings. One said he took out home equity and cashed in his work pension and savings for his kids' education to put the money into the company accounts. I mean, this is rough, guys. It reminds me a lot of the Luna situation where people were just dumping ridiculous amounts of their money into it. Even a pension fund in Canada actually participated in a funding round for Celsius, so they're exposed to this whole thing too. It just looks really bad. So for all of those people's sake, I hope that Celsius isn't what it looks like, which is bankrupt. Which is a weird thing to say about something that isn't a bank. Anyways, that is the story of Celsius. I'll be giving a full post-mortem coming soon, but I wanted to give some clarity around this subject to those of you who are listening to the news right now, hearing what's going on. Thanks for watching. Subscribe if you enjoyed it, and I will see you in the next one.
Spectrum Internet offers the fastest speeds in more neighborhoods than any other provider. With Spectrum Internet, you can power all of your devices.
Is here. The biggest players in the world are at war. They're fighting it out, and I'm here to tell you next. Now, I'm going to be honest, I called this yesterday. I warned you guys that FTX, second largest exchange, might be insolvent, and people called me crazy. They said, no way the guy who described all of DeFi as a Ponzi scheme could be bad. Sam Bankman-Fried, he's just too smart. FTX, after all, is endorsed by Tom Brady. What could go wrong with another celebrity endorsement? People like Larry David backed FTX. Surely your funds are safe. Well, turns out they were actually in danger all along, and things are looking very bad. So I'm going to explain to you this entire mess very quick, but bear in mind this is a very dynamic situation. Things are changing by the hour. But let's get into it.
Once there existed two rival crypto exchanges, Binance and FTX, the number one and number two crypto exchanges. And their CEOs, CZ and SBF, or Sam Bankman-Fried, hate each other. That's an important part of this story. But things were calm at first for the most part. They played nice for years. Until recently, SBF decided to take a pot shot at his competitors' attempts to work with regulators and said, he is allowed to go to DC, right? Implying that CZ was banned. Now, he didn't know it at the time, but SBF set off World War III in crypto with this tweet, and he might have signed his own funeral. Because a few days later, a report came out from CoinDesk leaking FTX's financial balance sheet. And what it showed is that they had a lot of money, but it was sort of locked up in all these token projects that they were a part of. Most notably in FTT token, Solana, and other projects that they were behind. And they couldn't sell the projects anytime they wanted to. In other words, even though they had billions of dollars worth of assets, they weren't very liquid. And it was arguable that some of the coins weren't that valuable. So they couldn't get access to these funds immediately. Meanwhile, they had huge liabilities, $8 billion, $7.4 billion of which were loans. Now, Dirty Bubble Media, who's the person who called out the collapse of Celsius, which we've talked about extensively, picked this up in a scathing report. In it, he suggested that FTX and Alameda Research might be insolvent because all their money was locked up in these tokens that might be worthless. And if everyone tried to withdraw their money all at once, the company could likely not pay off their liabilities. Now, CZ saw this and decided to take an opportunity to strike against his biggest rival. He announced that day that because of recent revelations, because of that report, quote, we have decided to liquidate any remaining FTT on our books. Now, this was massive given that FTX's number one holding was FTT. Their competitor Binance is saying that they're going to dump up to $2.1 billion worth of it on the open market, causing that price to plummet. Now, all of a sudden, you don't even have illiquid funds. You just have none of those funds. So even though CZ said that this was not a move against a competitor, it kind of looked like it was, right? Of course he's going to say that. In reality, he knew what he was doing. Now, immediately, this stoked all sorts of fears about the solvency of FTX. And the fears spread like wildfire. Is FTX the next Luna? Is FTX the next Celsius? And people started to withdraw funds like crazy, which honestly was the logical move to make. The problem with crypto exchanges right now is that because there's no monetary insurance on your money, even if the probability of an exchange going bust is less than 1%, you still have to take all your money out, because if they do go bust, you lose everything. If it doesn't go bust, you only lose a fraction of a percent on trading fees for being cautious. And so there's really nothing to risk by taking your money out, and there's everything to risk by keeping it in. So basically that means bank runs are extremely common these days, and a lot of these exchanges, they're really not ready for it. In fact, Sam Bankman-Fried himself said that a lot of crypto exchanges are secretly insolvent, which was a bit of weird foreshadowing. But at first, it looked like FTX wouldn't go insolvent. A lot of people said this was very unlikely, since in the past, they looked very strong. And that's what they basically said. They said, look, it's no big deal. This is all FUD, nothing to worry about. Alameda Research, who is closely tied to FTX, actually responded about these leaks in their financial balances. And they said, quote, they have $10 billion worth of assets that aren't reflected there. And that also, they have returned most of their loans by now. And most shocking of all was that they offered CZ to buy all of his FTT off market for $22 each, near the current price. Now, the reason for this is obviously to show that, okay, we're not scared, we've got the money to back this up, and if you really aren't trying to sink us as a competitor, you'll be happy to do this private deal, get a better price, and not impact our price. It would save both parties a lot of headache. But, unsurprisingly, because these guys hate each other, CZ wasn't having it. He said he was going to stay in the free market, signaling that he fully intended to squash the price of Bitcoin. And he did. FTT dropped over the next 24 hours 30%. And not only that, reports started showing that FTX withdrawals were increasing. The bank run really was happening like CZ wanted. And this is where we have to go back to Alameda's CEO, what they said about having $10 billion worth of assets. Because there's some really key caveats about those claims. What are those $10 billion worth of assets? Are they cash? Because if they are, they're probably fine. But if there's something like more FTT token or more of Sam's other projects that he can't sell. Well, that's going to be a significant problem for them when everybody's running and asking for their crypto back and they just don't have it. So questions were flying about what exactly FTX was doing with your money when you deposited it. Were they just giving it to Alameda Research, sort of acting like a hedge fund and trading with your crypto, trying to make a big return? Or were they keeping your funds safe and just practicing proper risk management? Well, this is where everyone just basically waited with bated breath to see what was going to happen next. Uh-oh, this looks pretty bad. They froze withdrawals. And at the same time, the team basically went totally silent. And people commented on how bad this looks on them. Why aren't they speaking? And people started to circle back to old clips of Sam Bankman-Fried describing DeFi and crypto as basically a Ponzi scheme positively. And they wondered, how did any of us trust this guy?
I think of myself as like a fairly cynical person, and that was so much more cynical than how I would have described farming. Like, you're just like, well, I'm in the Ponzi business, and it's pretty good.
At no point did any of this require any sort of like economic case. It's just like, other people put money in the box, and so I'm going to too, and then it's more valuable, so I'm going to put more money in. And at no point in the cycle did it seem to like describe any sort of like economic.
So yeah, things are looking really grim. But if you have your money locked up on FTX and you're clinched up right now, take a deep breath because things look like they might be fine. Although it's coming from a very unlikely source. CZ announced only hours after FTX paused withdrawals that they were going to buy them. Binance was going to buy FTX, the #1 crypto exchange, buying the #2 out. Quote, this afternoon, FTX asked for our help.
Oh, I've done all I can do. Where?
Basically acting like the hero, saving the day. He just bought FTX out for likely pennies on the dollar in a move that's honestly going to go down as a bit of business genius and also cutthroat strategy. I mean, this was a shark move. Now, in the next few months, you're going to see SBF and CZ try to spin this whole thing as if there's no conflict between them and there was never any problems. That was just a rumor. But don't believe it. This be
Can't save me, boy. We hire the cockroaches. We hire the cockroaches. You'll find out. Like,
get bought out by probably the man he hates most in crypto just shows you how badly they must have been short on cash or the crypto that was being withdrawn. I mean, I promise you they exhausted every other option. That you should not trust these crypto exchanges as far as you can throw them. And that no matter what their CEOs say about not having to worry about anything, there could be significant liquidity crises that they're lying to you about. And on that note, I want to remind you that this deal is non-binding, and Binance can get out if the due diligence doesn't pan out, or if they just don't want to do it. So if you're invested in FTX and didn't get your money out when I and others started telling you guys that they were likely to be insolvent, it's not time.
Unfortunately, the results came back positive. So either I pay $50 to get you that medicine, or I gotta get you put down. You know, I'm glad you found all of this funny. You could wipe that smirk off your face. You know damn well I ain't paying shit. Man, I always wondered how they do it. All that bloodlines. Yeah.
Bro, God, okay.
Damn, bro, that's a real life mermaid. I didn't even know they existed. Oh shit, her tail is stuck. Damn, her tail is stuck. Yeah. Bro really packed up and left that farm life behind. Off to wherever the wind takes you. Where's you at, Coco? 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 What you doing here, bro? Come on, man, we talking. Let's go. just like that, my service in the United States Army was over. So I went home. I didn't stay home for long because I'd made a promise to Bubba, and I always try to keep my promise. So I went on down to Biola Factory to meet Bubba's family and make the introduction.
Are you crazy? Or just plain stupid?
Stupid is stupid, doesn't it?
I guess.
And of course, I paid my respect to Bubba. Hey Bubba, it's me, Forrest Gump. Let's go.
Alright, this, my automatic tree farm is complete. With just a pull of the lever, I get a ton of wood, if only I remembered which lever to hit. I think I'm just gonna pull the first one. Let's see what this is. Okay, that does not appear to be the right lever. What's that one? Oh wait, that lever was to sacrifice the firstborn son of every family. I have no idea why I need a lever like this, but at least I know what it does now. Okay, well I guess I'll just go down the line here. Let's see what this middle lever does. Alright, that one didn't activate the horn either. What's that one? Oh right, that one was to blow up the ancient pyramids. Those have been standing there for thousands of years, and we still don't even know how to make them today. Oh well, I'll probably put a fucking McDonald's there or something, I don't know. Alright, well there's just one lever left, so let's see what happens. And of course that's not the right one. What did that one? Oh yeah, that was to let all the insane people out of the psychiatric hospital. Wait. Is my phone there? God damn it, Rich. Why do I need a tree farm? There's a fucking tree right there. I don't need this. I don't even need this. Alright, this...
So this girl stumbled across a real-life glitch. You see, she realized that if she double swiped her rewards card really quickly at this one gas station, she could turn her pump into demo mode, meaning she could get as much gas as she wanted completely for free. Now this girl, Dawn Thompson, quickly found that this infinite gas station was truly infinite. She could come back as many times as she wanted per day. So she decided that she would try to make some money. Instead of just only using this glitch where she needed gas, Dawn began selling usage of her rewards cards to her friends and coworkers. Now technically, anyone's rewards card could have been used to exploit this glitch, not just Dawn's, but she didn't tell them that. And she was charging some pretty high prices too, getting paid $500 from one person for about 700 worth of gas. Over the next 7 months, Dawn used her rewards card 510 times, an average of 2.4 each day. She filled a total of almost 8,000 gallons, which would have costed almost $28,000. Now the thing is, if Dawn had just used her rewards card less often, she might have been able to get free gas for life. But because she was making so much, this gas station soon noticed. As a result, Dawn was arrested and charged with theft. But the crazy thing is, she had actually sold her rewards card to a poor suspect right before this glitch was fixed. So this girl stumbled across a real-life glitch. You see, she
I'm sorry.
只有我守着安静的沙漠。
Fuck everyone who makes you feel like you aren't good enough.
Yeah. How you like that, Dad? Monkey.
Ja! Dann für mich ein, so wie ich für dich
Everyone around you looks like candy, and you have a sweet tooth.
More chuckles, miss she rest in peace. Always said that my teeth would rot if I kept eating so much candy.
There's a rogue reindeer at the reindeer ride. Children have been hurt.
You look as if the angels themselves planted you and you grew from a Sour Patch.
That's really sweet of you to say, but the children.
Can I just get a little bit of a nibble?
No, they're being stomped by a reindeer.
Their bones unguarded. Their peanut brittle flesh will be ours for the taking, Torbet.
I will follow you, Chuckles!
We go in whatever direction Chuckles is going in, assuming he knows where the children are. They're fucking dead.
Sure. Everyone around you looks like candy, and you have a sweet tooth.
What's up, baby? You want to come back to my room later?
Home, sweet home.
Oh shit. Oh, shit. Staircase man is here a little earlier than expected. Are you guys doing okay? Do you need some food? You want a steak? I bet you do.
I remember this hallway being here.
Oh, hello, staircase man.
Energize? I thought I killed you.
Oh, no. I am not energized anymore. I am an elevator guy. Look at my elevator, bro.
Bro, you can't just buy an elevator and call yourself elevator guy.
Yeah, I can. And I did. And on top of this elevator, I've got two people very close to you, staircase man. I've got the girl you've got a crush on at the gym.
No!
And I've also got your ex-wife.
Oh, I mean, no!
Yeah, I hope you care about the 5 children you have with your staircase man. And this elevator, it's going all the way into the stratosphere. They can't breathe up there.
You monster.
Go save them.
I will! Now I am become staircase. Destroyer of elevator.
What? What's up, baby? You want to come back to my room later?
Home, sweet home.
Oh shit.
Those fake ads really drive you mad.
You saved Rey Mysterio from...
You were hit by a PT Cruiser, but we managed to save you. We have replaced your bones with tungsten metal and recalibrated your muscles to make you faster and stronger. So let's give you 22 vision as well as night and heat vision. Incredible. They also shoot lasers. They what? Don't worry about it. Okay. Unfortunately, we must now come to the gauche subject of payment.
Oh, I didn't even think about that. You paid for any of this.
I'm ashamed of my country that I must ask of you such a high price for medical treatment.
I don't know what I'm gonna do.
I must ask of you to pay 25 euros.
25?
Please do not lash out in rage.
Did you say 25?
I know. It should be free.
You're sturdy. These prices? Keep the change.
That I cannot do. A doctor will not take more than he is owed.
Should we end it there?
Yeah, good enough.
Nothing fancy, no heroics, by the book this time. Got it. Hey. Hey, Jeff, what's happening, buddy? We were just wondering what you were doing. Soccer. You know our arrangements, Jeff. We don't travel outside of the EFNR subway line. What the hell are you doing here, Warren? T. Jeff, you and kinda stupid. Getting big, Jeff. What would you need? Sweet dreams, big boy. Sweet big boy, transit authority, people. Please move to the forward part. We got a bug in the electrical system. Everybody got before I start knocking heads here. Get in there. Never help this thing. Don't make me do this, Jeff. 81st Street. Have your attention, please. Nothing fancy, no heroics, by the book this time. Got it.
How rare is your birthday?
Quick draw. just sit
Every
down.
time it turns, the horse lowers its head. It's really smart. Probably in a few days, the horse will be lying on the ground. To train the horse, this equipment was specially installed. At first, it was quite effective, but what the owner didn't expect was that just a few days later, the horse found a cheat code. Every time it turns, the horse lowers its head.
What a save! What a save! What a save! Just a save. 3 seconds. What a save!
Why summer in Dubai? Because whether you want to get in on the action
Hey, buddy. How's it going?
Meow. It's the second I get a...
Today, we kill this infidel for his disbelief in Allah. Only the sin of homosexuality would shake the throne of Allah.
What? Oh, there's a bit of a misunderstanding. I'm not gay.
What do you mean you're not gay?
I'm not gay.
We saw you with another man yesterday.
Yeah, it was my frat bro Pete, but we're not gay. We crush pussy.
Today, we kill this.
Of a man named Toko who desperately wants to be a dog. We then get an image of a dog that doesn't look quite right, and then we get to put two and two together here and see that the reason this dog doesn't look right is it's a suit and there's a person inside of it, aka Toko. According to Toko's YouTube channel, from a very young age, his #1 dream in life was to become a dog, so he chose to become a border collie. He reached out to a very high-end costume designer known as Zeppet. They create similar suits to what Toko wanted, and he paid around $20,000 for this specialized suit. But Toko doesn't only do this from the comfort of his home, he actually does go out into public as well wearing this suit and interacting with other dogs as well as people. This makes for some pretty bizarre clips, especially when taken out of context when you don't understand the situation.
My daughter thinks that you are so cute. Oh my god. Yeah. Stop! What's your name? Well, good to meet you, Well.
Invite me to dinner, Frank.
What? Would you like to have dinner?
Women don't like questions.
Join me for dinner.
Too demanding.
Join me for dinner?
Another question.
I'm having dinner. If you'd care to join me.
In the trash. Do you like them? In the trash. Do you like them? Outside, man. I catch them loving on each other all the time. We're here, I'll get it. Each other all the time. We're here, I'll get it.
Culturally significant in that it is responsible for an insane number of meme trends, animations, and careers of countless posters since it debuted almost 20 years ago in 2007. It is certainly a property that has had an undeniable influence across the internet, and by proxy, across the offline world. As such, it is a huge shame that over the last couple of years it has been inundated with bots, hackers, and script kiddies to the point of being unplayable. This has been extremely frustrating for fans of the game the world over, as the chaotic and frenzied nature of the community has inspired pieces of art, and it more than deserves being worthy of protection. Do you remember a couple of years ago when #SaveTF2 gained insane momentum and seemingly led to Valve paying attention to their baby? Unfortunately, since then, the game has degenerated further, and it's seeming more and more likely that this is how it goes out, becoming the first Valve game ever to receive overwhelmingly negative reviews on Steam for its bot issues. This is why the next campaign is rolling across the internet in the form of #FixTF2, as the fact that despite Valve claiming they would do something about the problems plaguing their game, nothing has happened. Many are outraged that the company is instead working on a new MOBA hero shooter, instead of improving their existing intellectual properties. Deadlocked seems to be their latest game and has so far been met with a relatively tepid reaction, as it looks like another version of Overwatch, which was arguably inspired by TF2 in the first place. At this stage, a petition to save the game has reached almost 300,000 signatures as the community strives to implement change. The funniest and most frustrating thing is that, as of the writing of this video, the last time Valve's official TF2 Twitter account communicated was back when it acknowledged the very issues it is facing today, claiming it was working on the problem. It brings to question the responsibilities companies have for their products over time, especially so-called live services. When a game such as Team Fortress 2 is so beloved and reps such a strong community, does its age make it okay for it to fall into disrepair at the hands of a few people happy to ruin a game for everyone else? Being a fan myself, as well as a channel that has covered TF2 memes extensively and understands the game's importance in the digital ecosystem, it's disheartening to watch it flounder in its current state. In short, the hashtag FixTF2 exists for good reason. It's a plea for the developers of a piece of human history to get their act together and make changes good enough to deal with bots and hackers, before they release a new game that will likely face exactly the same fate. What meme would you guys like me to give a lesson in next? Let me know in the comments below.
I remember.
And he's about to accidentally expose the scam.
Especially for Speed. Just for you. Paradox crypto to the moon. Paradox crypto to the moon.
Not only that, I actually ended up confronting the people behind all of this, and it didn't exactly go well. Advertising 10x to 100x, is that a get-rich-quick scheme? Yes or no?
No.
Now we're gonna get to all of this, but first, let's start at the beginning. In what started as a live stream to meet Cristiano Ronaldo and give away PS5s, quickly turned into a nightmare after fans realized the meetup was fake and was being used to promote a scam. Literally, they used a fake Cristiano Ronaldo who couldn't play soccer and was wearing a Buy Paradox Crypto Coin t-shirt. And it quickly got worse. The live chat started calling Paradox Coin a scam in the middle of this sponsored stream and called iShowSpeed a sellout, which caused him to get very angry.
You sold out. They're using you, Speed. This is just bad.
That is crazy, bro. Like, them comments like that, bro, is making me like, that's crazy, bro. The fact y'all ever make, like, the fact that y'all like, y'all just sticking me like that is just crazy. I hate that, bro. Y'all so weird, bro.
It's crazy, bro. It's crazy when people think of me as a sellout, as I literally sell out. Now, to be honest, I don't watch much of iShowSpeed's content. I know he's a popular streamer, and from what I understand, he's followed primarily by a bunch of teenagers who think comedy is... Now, we know comedy is subjective, but I do think one thing is objectively hilarious. And that is the fact that all these teenagers and kids called this guy out. I mean, just think about it. The target of most crypto scams is gullible people. And who's more gullible than kids and teenagers? So when those people see right through your scam, that's pretty embarrassing. And it got so bad that Speed had to mute himself to try to figure out how to salvage the situation. The only problem is, he forgot to fully mute the mic.
So what do I do now?
Now, before we get to the rest of this audio of Speed exposing the scam, let's talk about Paradox Coin, the thing he's promoting. How do we know this is a scam anyways? Well, I checked out their website to learn more, where they call themselves the future of gaming. But the one thing I really took away from Paradox is that they're not one thing. The Paradox Metaverse is actually 7 things, each one possibly dumber than the last. And I'm going to explain them. So first up is the Paradox game, which has graphics out of the PS2 era, which made me wonder why they'd be giving away PS5s. I mean, are you trying to make your games look worse by comparison? But it gets even crazier because I spoke to the founders and they called their game AAA quality. And I took issue with that.
We have worked day and night for the last year to make this. As you probably know, you've probably done your research. It takes 2 years on average to make a AAA game, right? Yes or no? On average, anyone that does a bit of research in AAA games knows roughly takes between 2 and 3 years for a AAA game, as far as we are concerned.
And frankly, I have to take serious issue with your claim that this is a AAA game. Yeah, this looks like a basic game you designed in Unreal Engine. I'm sure you have developers behind it. But you admit, wait, in your own marketing, you describe yourself, wait a second, you describe yourself as an indie game. You describe yourself as an indie game, and then you have the audacity to come on my stream and call yourself a AAA game when you describe yourself as an indie game.
I don't want to interrupt you, but just give me...
You are interrupting me. Of course you are. You don't call yourself an indie game on your YouTube channel and then have the audacity to come on my channel and call yourself AAA.
Yes, we are a self-funded indie studio, a UK-based indie gaming studio, Indie Studio.
So yeah, I'm not buying this AAA game story because not even they believe it. And even for an indie game studio, things seem unfinished. I mean, in one of their gameplay trailers, I found like the starter weapons HUD in Unreal Engine in their game. So How many day and nights did this really take? This isn't just any regular game, of course. It's a blockchain game. So they sell NFT avatars, which you can use to play in-game. And if you play in-game, it earns you Paracoins. Now, follow me here. To earn these Paracoins, you complete missions, which apparently require up to 8 hours of gameplay to accomplish. And once you do that, you have to wait 24 hours before starting another mission. I guess if you do that full time, they estimate you make $500 a week based on 4 hours a day of playing. Wait, I thought these missions took 8 hours to play. Okay, I'm a bit confused, but whatever. Let's press on. They even have an answer for people who don't like grinding themselves. Apparently, if you want, you can rent out your avatar to someone else for Paracoins and passive income. Okay, so now you have Paracoins, right? What are you gonna do with them? Well, you can sell them, but why sell them when you can lock them up and stake them? Forget this, even more Paracoins. If you do this, your Paracoins turn into P-Save, which then you lock up for a period, sorry, I'm trying to maintain my composure here. You lock up for a period of 28 to 2,888 days. The longer you lock up your money, the more you earn in a process they call delay and get paid. Sure, I guess. Now, if you want to understand how this entire staking process works, their flowchart will leave you even more confused. Here it is, and instead of explaining it, I'm going to label all of this Ponzi nonsense. This is a pro tip for you guys out there. If you ever see a flowchart that seems almost impossibly complicated, it's Ponzi nonsense. They're trying to confuse you because if you actually understood how a Ponzi scheme worked, you'd never truly invest. So I know all of this at this point seems stupid, but hey, that's only the first exciting opportunity for you. There's 7 more. So if you're not a gamer, they also give you other schemes you can get involved in. For example, there's the Paradox DAO, where you could stake PDAO coins to earn up to 10% a year in returns. And if that's not your thing, you can try the Paradox Pad, where they promise 10x to 100x multiples if you invest. Okay. Now, I asked them if they thought this was marketing a get-rich-quick scheme, and here's what they said. It's hard for me to be quote-quote professional when y'all are dodging my questions. If y'all want to answer...
Dude, come on, man. Don't do this to me. Don't do this to me, man. Don't do this to me, man.
Ask us the question.
Right. Advertising 10x to 100x, is that a get-rich-quick scheme? Yes or no?
No. Why? Because it's easy. Because it can happen.
Okay.
It happens every single day of the week in the crypto space. Please get knowledgeable about what happens in the crypto space.
So much of the crypto space is a scam!
Oh, now
you We got ya! Gotcha! We got you, buddy! You're a Bitcoin hater! You hate crypto! That's why you don't like us! That's why you call us a scam! Because you hate us crypto guys!
Repeat back what I said. Repeat back what I said word for word. I said...
That's going on Twitter! That's going on Twitter!
I don't know what the gotcha was here, but anyways, from here it derailed, and so we're gonna get back on topic. They also have Paraswap, where the average user can expect to earn up to 20% on staking rewards, all right? Now, if all of that sounds dumb, you can even get your friends to invest too with Paradox Affiliate. Oh my gosh, it's so bad. Every person you get gets £5. Okay, whoop-de-doo. Now, the last one we're gonna cover is Paradox Events. Sorry, I've got to take this seriously. Paradox is a very serious company. We have to all remember that. So Paradox Events is not really a direct scam per se. It's an event company put together by the founders of Paradox. You guessed it. They claim they want to sell you YouTube boxing pay-per-view, which is only available with their little Paracoins, right? Which seems very stupid and like it never would work. Only they claim their first fight is Andrew Tate versus Jake Paul. I found this out because their founder told me about it in their Discord. At first, he seemed to be upset about this supposedly being leaked. He says, guys, can we refrain from sending the screenshot that was leaked about the Jake Paul versus Tate fight in February? However, I couldn't find these leaked posts, and a few minutes later I realized this guy might be spreading his own rumor. And this made a lot more sense when the same day he said,
Still sliding into influencer DMs with collabs? Find your perfect match with Later. We have over 10 million influencers to help you reach your goals every time. Your perfect influencer match is waiting.
Don't care, spread the word of Jake and Andrew. So, wait, you leak this supposed fight yourself and then say, oops, I guess it's out there, let's spread the word, guys. I don't know, it's so cringy, man, this whole thing.
We cannot
We got the screenshot. We can't confirm.
nor deny whether or not we are in talks to make it happen on our roster, on our part. Now, if we find out we get to make that happen, we make an amazing official announcement to come with it. If they're able to screenshot
Well,
that,
your brother and partner is telling everyone to share it around. You're telling everyone just like to say it's true. I don't know why you're
within
saying
our community. Within our
already seen
community,
it.
share around within our community without other members.
We want to give it
I don't know what spread the word of Jake and Andrew. Let's get
within
Paradox
our community. Have a
You say
Discord channel,
everywhere.
have a Telegram
You say
channel.
everywhere though. Now, before we go further, let's meet the other founders too. On their website, they list Amio Talio and Faciel Tariq, who both seem pretty obscure. I think Amio sells a goofy university or something, which just takes 10 seconds of research to realize is a waste of money.
This is the only way to get rich in 2022 without starting up a business from scratch. For every person that you refer to Amio Italian University, you get £15.
Now, I confronted them about this claim, and here's what they said.
Is an affiliate program wrong, where a person is commissioned for sales?
No, I think saying that this is the only way you're going to get rich is wrong.
You don't get rich on affiliate programs?
It's not the only. You say, I found the only way to get rich. No knowledge.
The only way that works, as far as we're concerned, I found a way.
Wait, but that's the thing, because you're selling your crypto now. So, or buying your crypto isn't a way to get rich?
No, our affiliate marketing program is a design, it's a simple product.
Oh, great. Another affiliate scheme like Tate. Let me guess. It's not a get-rich-quick scheme.
It's not a get-rich-quick scheme.
All right, so we have that in the background. Now, the last guy we need to talk about is a YouTuber named Money Kicks who's involved. He has 3 million subscribers, and it seems to me like he's mostly famous for being a billionaire son and doing billionaire son things. Apparently, he has allegedly bought 50% of this disaster for $11 million. Now, I couldn't confirm this myself, but he does seem very affiliated with the project, sitting next to Speed basically during the entire ad. And my favorite moment with Money Kicks is just when he tries to relate to somebody who's explaining how he grew up poor and eventually became rich.
We grew up very humble in the sense where my dad was a taxi driver, we worked all his life, and alhamdulillah, we started doing a bit of businesses. We've done alhamdulillah, we've done all right.
Very good.
Now we're just celebrating life in the sense where...
Life is step by step,
100%, 100%.
Wait, how's Money Kicks talking about life is step by step? What was your step 1? Being the son of a billionaire? What was your step 2? At that point, is he just talking to people like, hey, have you tried step 1 yet? Now, this is the whole crew basically behind Paradox, and I hope I've done a fair job of explaining it. Obviously, the project itself is a bit of a paradox to me. I mean, it looks like they are kind of putting real money behind this. They're investing in all these high-profile streamers, but it's just all done in such a scammy way. Why would anyone want a part of this? I mean, I know I wouldn't want 7 ways to join a Ponzi scheme. So that's just what it sounds like to me, and apparently to a lot of children and teenagers. So I think it's probably gonna flop. But now that you understand what Paradox is, it's time to go back to iShowSpeed, trying to keep his chat from figuring out what's going on.
Alright, so look. It's cool now. Relax. Yo, relax. Why listen to the chat? You see no more. I know. I'm just trying to make... No. You know what I'm doing, bro. No. I'm not gonna get it. It's obvious, bro.
Yeah, I think it's a little too late for that. The only way to make this more obvious is if he changed his name to iShowScams. Now, I do have an update here because Speed has responded saying he's not a scammer and regrets his mistake.
Stop spamming. I'm not a scammer, bro. Why do you keep spamming? Bro, I'm not a scammer, dog. I made a little mistake, that I wish I never did, but I'm not a scammer, bro.
Now, what exactly you make of this is up to you. I think he's pretty young, 17 years old. I think hopefully he's going to learn from this and is going to learn that you don't have to sell out your audience for money. As for the Paradox founders, I think they're still baffled that anyone's mad at them at all because they think there's no reason to apologize at all. According to them, the claims of L scam in this chat were just bots anyways.
That's botting.
That's what you call botting.
That's what you call
Look,
botting.
A human can bot, a computer can bot. Bot can bot.
Wait. So y'all are saying humans can bot now? So yeah, this whole thing went on for hours, and I'll link the full VOD below, confronting them. If you're bored, you can give it a watch. It's pretty funny. Anyways, that's basically it. Last week, iShowSpeed promoted Paradox Crypto, which was widely criticized to be a scam, and he apologized, and I confronted the founders behind this crypto coin. Only now, one of the founders has gone full internet tough guy and is making threats towards the people who criticized him.
I'm seeing you personally myself. Yeah, spreading all that fake lies on my name. Watch when I catch you, I'm gonna smash your teeth in.
This double down by itself would seem so insane, but it actually gets worse. So this is a full expose on Amio Talio, the founder, who in my opinion is a danger to himself and others in addition to being a scammer. So we'll discuss all of this, but first, let me bring you up to speed on what's happened so far. As many of you know, I confronted Paradox Crypto on a live stream a week ago, and things went pretty badly for the two of them. There were two brothers. They kept deflecting basic questions about, is this a get-rich-quick scheme or not? And they also kept saying that, like, it's not that you think we're a scam, you just must not like us.
You don't think we're a scam. You just think that we're not gonna...
No, I think you're a scam. You must not like the way we dress or the color of our skin.
All it is because we're not your average suit and tie kind of guys. Maybe you don't like the color of our skin.
Which is a pretty shocking allegation when only an hour earlier I was a man of dignity and a man of the people.
You are a man of dignity and a man of the people because you are obviously exposing fakes.
I don't know why I just keep going from awesome guy to horrible person whenever I confront one of these people, but at this point, it's just the Coffeezilla. But honestly, I thought the story was going to end here for me. Because even though they've made a response video about this a couple days ago, where Amio Talio, the founder, tried to talk a lot more carefully and considerately about his crypto coin, I watched it and realized it wasn't worth my time to cover. Because A, Moist Critical already covered this, and I felt like he had done a great job already. But also, B, it was basically all the same counter arguments that I had already debunked on a 2-hour live stream. But yesterday, something changed. Amio Talio decided to double down by going from a crypto scammer into an unprofessional goon who threatens people who criticize him. What's worse is that he didn't just threaten people with big platforms like me or Moist Critical. No. He was nice to us. He told me after I toasted him and his brother for 2 hours on a live stream, good luck on your future ventures. No. instead of going after us, Ami Otalio decided to target a small TikTok creator that dared to criticize him the exact same way I did, but instead of saying good luck on your future ventures, he said this.
Watch when I catch you, I'm gonna smash your teeth in. Every single time you look at your face in the mirror, you're gonna see your broke up nose bust up in 20 different places. That's what I'm gonna do, that big nose of yours. Right? You thought it was funny, innit? You thought it's funny. You just troll mans on the internet. Bro, I'm not an internet guy. I'm gonna put your name out. I'm gonna put 10 bags down. So anyone that shows me this guy's address, I'll give him 10 bags. And I'm gonna see what you're gonna say when I come there. Because I think you think I'm just some internet bro, I'm not an internet. Yeah? So I'll see you very soon, you little.
There's only a few days left for a mouth-watering offer from Dave & Buster's. Become a D&B Rewards member today and get 50% off our entire menu. And for a limited time, Buster Douglas playing a claw machine. Come into Dave & Buster's today.
Prolitech, full-service commercial scent marketing, providing hassle-free scent experience with remote adjustments to scent your...
So annoying to me. It's the ultimate internet tough guy act. You choose the smallest voice criticizing you and you say, okay, I'm gonna bash your teeth in if you don't shut up. Like, why not say that on a live stream to me? And it's also the dumbest thing too, because you're literally threatening somebody online recorded. You're saying